in the mix.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Full Circle Presents DATBOYMEDIA Durags Conversations. And y'all just heard a nice little mix with Brandy, Tony Tone, Trey Songz, Bluff City, Usher, DJ Luke Nasty. So thank y'all for that nice little mix that y'all just heard. And this is Full Circle, again, presents Durags Conversations, and this is episode number 4 for my podcast. This is hashtag I wrote it, and this is on Pacifica's KPFA for those who want to follow me and the stuff that I do. My Instagram is datboymediaproductions, and we got the Conversate podcast clip. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Mr. the Director, Fred.
For sure. Appreciate you having me here. My name is Fred Matt. I am the CEO and founder of For the Culture Media, and we have a podcast that I have for creatives and entrepreneurs called Conversate. It's just about a dialogue. I know you can converse, but I want to conversate. You know what I mean? I want to just have kind of creatives that just come on and talk about their process, talk about what they do, and then so people can learn, right? So there's like how I built this for startups, but if you're trying to write a book, right? Like how people want to know how you do that in that process. If you're trying to drop an album, if you're trying to start your own podcast, right?
Okay.
So now we can collaborate and we can kind of build on each one, teach one. Fair to say?
Absolutely. And I took this particular clip. Who did you interview?
So I've interviewed a couple people right here, but this clip right here.
For this clip?
Yeah, for this clip right here, I believe I had given you the Tech Trap House.
Okay,
right?
so
Tech Trap House was an event that they were having in San Francisco. That was mixing like people from the Bay Area and then people that were joining tech and like this eclectic, dope vibe of like first they had a hip and paint, people came in and did that, and then on top of that they would have someone from tech kind of talk about how they got into the space. And so these two dope dudes, DeBray, straight from San Francisco, you know what I'm saying, and then in terms of Corey, he's from North Carolina, so they came and created this whole vibe, and it's dope. Y'all should check it out. They actually have their event at Complex now in Oakland, so for sure.
Absolutely. So introduce this piece. This is I know you ain't heard it yet, but just go ahead and introduce it.
For sure. Introducing. This is a Conversate. This is a clip from Conversate, Tech Trap House. Shout out to DeBray and Corey. Y'all take a listen.
People say, like, you know, people have approached me and was like, are you okay with the connotation that trap house, tech trap house? I'm like, if it offends you, it's number one, it's not for you. Tech trap house, trapping, we branded it that way to speak to a specific person, right? So, you know, true inclusion is tech trap house.
That was the clip from Conversate. I got the co-host. I got the homie Fred Matt. That's that introduced Tech Trap House. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Tech Trap House.
Okay. And so he was. What I got from it was pretty much saying bump what other people have to say. It's not going to be easy to start your stuff as a creative in the Bay Area. You know, you just got to keep on trucking. And sometimes before you can jump into the pool, you got to dip your feet into the jacuzzi. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's when you have an idea, it's taken from idea to actual product or actual service or actual space. Like, you're going to get nervous. You're going to see other people doing it. So I think a lot of what they was talking about was like the whole point is just you gotta love that process, just the creation, right? Because that's what you gotta really celebrate for it. So I think that a lot of us we get jammed up, like just playing the game, and we get jammed up in the sense of like, oh, like, you know what, someone else is doing it, so I can't do it, right? So you gotta start having that abundance mentality, like it's the process, you know?
Right. Absolutely. And just to let y'all know, this is Full Circle presents Durags Conversations. So call me, 510-848-4425. I am giving away some free lashes. Ladies, it's Valentine's Day. You want to look sexy for your man? I got some nice lashes for you. Just keep listening to the show. We got so much more in store. And speaking of so much in store, I got my first guest in the building. Actually, I got 2 guests in the building.
Okay.
I'm actually very proud and very excited. I got Miss Noehmi Guerra. And I got Mr. Rico. What's going on, y'all?
Hey. 1 2 1 2. Hello. I can't hear myself, but hello. It's good to be here. Noehmi Guerra. For translation is Delightful War, and author of Renewed. Oh no, you're not gonna get nervous right now. Renewed, Restored, and Reassembled is the book that we'll be speaking about. And this right here was my right hand, my
Hello.
support, and everything in between, along with the artist of the cover.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at that cover. I was like, ooh, that budget looking kind of nice because I'm like, it's good.
Man, she got an in-house discount. The next one, I'm
There you go.
And this book just dropped on Amazon. It's pretty much everywhere, right? On Amazon.
Yes, everywhere on Amazon, or you could there I go,
man.
or you could get it through me as well.
Okay, and it's doing pretty good. What's the response? What's the kind of responses that you're getting from this book? Like, what have
You want me to be fully honest with you?
Yes, be honest.
Of course, I'm always honest. So I just gotta,
this is Durags and Conversations. Be as honest as you want to.
ask permission. You know, 'cause
Right,
sometimes
true.
people are too raw. So, okay. The first pre-order I got was actually from my sister. And at first I received a lot of support, like, hey, you know, you're doing it, you know, good job. And then when she received her copy, our relationship kind of got distorted.
Really?
Yes.
So what made the relationship change?
She got hurt by what she read
Okay.
in the book. So she didn't know how to take my feelings of how she's made me feel throughout my life. She felt that I spoke on her and her husband, which I then took a pause in my life, which I was doing some YouTube videos on Delightful War, which is myself. And I stopped. I stopped writing. I stopped doing everything because it took a toll on me. So then I read what she said that she got hurt about, and then I started writing. So I wrote 6 more chapters. So I wasn't done with the book.
Wow.
And I resubmitted it in September 22nd, which was my 30th birthday.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yes.
Dirty.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
no, clean 30.
Clean 30. You right. Clean 30. That's what we going for.
Yes. God, grace, glow, and keep going, man.
Amen.
But yeah, that was my first kind of like, ooh. So it kind of took me, it sat me down for a minute. But I also got good feedback from actual like people that I went to middle school with, people that I grew up with, like, you know, supporting, like reposting and, you know, saying like, hey, I want to get a copy and stuff like that. So overall, I've sold over, maybe 2 dozens.
Ooh, okay. That's nice.
Hey, as long as I got one printed, that's what I'm happy with.
Exactly.
Amen.
When we talking about like the start of the book, like what? Like could you give the analysis of the book, because it seems deep. Like your energy right now, you healing. You know what I'm saying? You like, you know what I mean? It ain't a dirty 30, it's a clean 30, right?
Amen.
So like tell us what's the overall scope of the book?
Well, I'll tell you, overall is my life. It's the story about a girl that grew up in Richmond, who grew up with a single mother. My mom only spoke Spanish, so I spoke English at school. So it was kind of like I had to do Spanish in the house, English, you know, with my friends and at school.
For sure.
I grew up not really knowing my history. So I kind of grew up not liking my skin color. I felt like I had to be like what America portrays, which is, you know, blonde and, you know, like lighter skin than what I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you know, it was tough. So I grew up with a lot of hurt. I grew up without a father. I had my stepdad, but he didn't live at home with us full time. But nevertheless, I actually when I was actually writing, it was a lot of healing because I was able to share my feelings that I had towards him, which, you know, I could actually admit that, you know, that was my dad.
Nice.
Whew, that's tough. And, you know, I thank him for everything that he did, because at the end of the day, everything that, you know, I hear other people say, oh, my dad did this with me, my dad did that with me. He did everything. He took me to get my first car. He took me to get my license. He was a grandfather to my daughter. So let me not get emotional. But yes.
It's okay. Go ahead. You see the
believe
R&B
me,
playing
You
in the
got so
back.
much. You have so. Let me tell, because it's such a stigma for us to reveal who we are, especially in front of the world. So this is a safe space for, if you want to cry, cry. You got so much love and so much support.
Thank you.
Here. There is no judgment for you telling your story.
Amen.
Because at the end of the day, your story is going to help inspire somebody else's who's coming up in the different generation.
That's in hopes. You know, that's the whole key of it. Renewed, restored, and reassembled. Man, April 7th of 2019. Whew. Did you read it?
I read some of it.
Okay.
You know, it's a nice little thick book.
It's a thick book.
So you got a book.
Yeah, she got a book. She ain't talking about no pamphlet. It's a book.
Okay, that's thick.
But to hold that thought, because we still got more with you and Mr. Rico. We're gonna go into a quick music break.
Sounds good.
So one thing that I did notice before we went to break was you said that your mom didn't speak a lot of English while growing up, and that you grew up as a single parent. So fast forwarding now, how did your mom feel about that? How did your mom feel about you telling that part? Because, you know, sometimes older people, they get kind of like, don't be telling my business.
Yeah, that old generation don't want to hear that.
They don't. But that's the reason why we're not healing past trauma.
Hello.
Yeah, they want you to heal
Let me
by
tell
yourself.
they don't teach you how.
Right.
So let me tell you, my mom didn't know I was writing the book until I was almost done with it.
Okay.
Once I published it, I told her I wrote a book. I told her that it was my whole life, and I told her it was all my feelings, and that honestly, people, my family, and whoever read it, they are going to have opinions, and they're going to feel how they're going to feel, but ultimately, I'm not going to shy away from speaking my truth because somebody else is going to get hurt.
Right.
I was already hurt. I had to let go of a lot. And you know what? The only one that I could give credit to is God.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Hallelujah.
I want to share 2 quick things with you before I, give the mic over here. The process, you asked me about the process of the book. I started by texting my husband. I text my husband. I told him, I said, hey, I don't have a laptop right now. We don't have, means of anything. So I'm going to text you. That's what I got. I got a phone. So I started texting, booming his phone, text messages, 14 messages, 20 messages. And I'm talking about long messages. You know, when, your girlfriend's mad and but it wasn't nothing like that. So, he started reading everything. He started knowing, he already knew parts of me. You know how you already share some with your, but it was raw, uncut, everything. Everybody I slept with, everybody I hurted, everybody that hurt me, how I was a single mother for 9 years, how, I was celibate before meeting him, how I got abused, a lot of things. Everything that's in there is me. And I'm not going to shy away from anything. I can't be ashamed of who, I am and how God brought me here. So April 7th was my healing day.
Nice.
I jumped in the shower in a leap of faith, and I gripped my stomach, and I said, through the power of the blood of Jesus Christ, I'm going to be healed. And within that, I, felt like, God was telling me, your heart's full of leprosy. I don't know if you guys know the story of Naaman, but he had to jump into the Jordan River 7 times so he could get healed. So that's what I did. Spiritually, I gripped my stomach and I dipped in the water in and out 7 times. And I was almost yelling, through the blood of Jesus Christ, I'm going to be healed. And when I got out that shower and I forgave everybody that didn't apologize to me, and I let go of everything I had to, guess what? Let me tell you what he healed me from. Not just what I was holding in my heart. Before that, I was dealing with a lot of health issues for 3 years, and he could attest to everything. Like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be telling the story either. Like, God and my husband, I tell you, and my kids, man.
Bless.
Anyway, blessed beyond, even blessed to be here to tell the story. I tell you, like, there was times where I was really depressed. I was down. I had 2 surgeries. I had a lead procedure. It's all in there. Like, I got postpartum with my son. I couldn't hold him. I couldn't swaddle him. I couldn't do anything because the pain I had was like all through, and the doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. I had already gone to specialists. The GI department was like, we exhausted everything. We can't, there's nothing else we could do. So I tell you, God's grace and his power only. And
absolutely.
Yep, that's why.
So we got to wrap this interview up, unfortunately. But before you go, what do you want people to take from this book?
I want them to see how God healed me, how he changed my life. I want them to see how a girl from Plano, Richmond, California became an author. Plain Richmond, California. Yes. I became an author by God's grace. And if anything, I want them to have a personal relationship with God. I'm not talking about religion. Delightful War is faith without religion. Just have a connection with God. I'm not talking about, you have to get all, churchy and all,
Right.
gospel religion. No, just a one-on-one.
Right.
And start healing.
That's real.
Start healing that inner child that we all got in us, and
Yes.
start processing your childhood, your teenagehood, your adulthood. Whatever age you are, is never too early and it's never too late to heal.
Absolutely.
So you got anything to say, bro?
And then
Go
on
ahead.
top of that, like we talked about the creative process, like it's just so anybody can go have that creative process.
That's right.
Like we literally sat in the bed with tears in our eyes. Like she said, we texted the beginning of this book. You know what I mean? Like it's about creative process. Like if you want to go do something, go do it. You know what I mean? Like the overall message is go heal, but that underlying feeling is like go create. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like go, go live your life and leave your stamp. Like this book is hers, and God did it, but at the end of the day, her name was on that book.
Right.
For the rest of everything.
Absolutely.
Like,
Creatives create.
Absolutely.
Period. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Period. Yep.
So, what's your Instagram or social media that people can contact you if they want to reach out to you or buy the
Most
book?
definitely. I said left-handed ____, or you could also H Queen United in Progress, Delightful War.
Absolutely. And that was Noehmi Guerra.
Guerra.
Oh, I've been saying your name. Why you
It's
done
all
say that?
good. Hey, it's all good.
Noehmi Guerra.
Yeah.
Okay. Noehmi Guerra and
Yeah.
Rico. And thank y'all so much for coming on.
LRBH.life. That's the website.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Get you a T, LRBH.life.
Get your plug, bro.
Man,
Right.
we trying.
Thank y'all so much for coming
Thank
on and
you.
talking about the book.
Man, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I definitely learned a lot just having a conversation from you, and I hope that
appreciate you.
everybody that's
Both of
listening
you.
right now took a little piece of who you are as a person.
Thank you.
And go buy that book.
Yeah,
Buy
go
that
get
book
it.
and keep that energy. Keep that energy.
Yeah,
That
I
energy.
appreciate
That
it.
feel that yeah.
Yeah.
Keep that. Hold on to that.
Wow, I've been catfished, bro. What the fuck? This dude looks a mess, and he's dressed like it's 05.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay.
Are you not ready to go?
No, I'm ready to go.
Oh, okay, cool.
What are you doing?
Ain't you driving us to the concert?
Oh, hell no. And what does that smell? Gross. I'm driving. That's not what we discussed.
That's why I mentioned either we can take BART or we can drive. But parking would be more expensive if we drove.
So that's why you mentioned these two options. This bastard. You mentioning that is not asking if I could drive.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. I mean, it's no problem. I can get us an Uber. It's just that my car in the shop.
Of course it is. No, it's okay. I'll just drive. But where are we headed? It's already 6:20. We don't have time to go downtown.
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe we can go to the liquor store and get a bottle right quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, how am I gonna escape?
I think I'm done being nice.